Hello everybody, my name is Mike Pareto and I'm a graduate student at West Virginia University and I am studying school counseling. So today I'm going to be demonstrating the Truine hand and brain model by Siegel and showing you how to teach that to kids from ages 12 to 15, so that is around early adolescence. Hope you enjoy this video. This may be a little bit of a tricky question, but what do you think I'm trying to represent with my hand in this position? And I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Alright, so I'm actually trying to represent the brain and hand model. And this model of the brain can help you understand your own emotions and why you act in certain situations. And I think it can be really beneficial to controlling those emotions. So before diving into any detail, I'm going to do a quick overview on that model. So if everybody could put their hand and arm in this position with their palms spread and their fingers all spread, and then we're going to fold our thumb like this, and we're going to curl our fingers down like that, and this is going to create the brain. So starting with your wrist, if everybody could look at their wrist, this is going to represent the spinal cord. And now if we can open our hand, we're going to be looking at our palm, which represents the brain stem. Or we can also just call this the lower brain. So now, moving on to the thumb, when we fold our thumb over like this, our thumb is going to represent our middle brain, also known as the limbic area. Now we're going to curl our fingers down to form our brain again, and our four fingers are going to be represented as the cortex, or for more simpler reasons, we're just going to call this the upper brain. Starting with the palm, which is our brainstem, or the lower brain, we're going to talk about this first. And the lower brain is actually the oldest area of our brain, and it does really important things. It helps us with our reflexes. Now I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think about different reflexes. Alright, so you might have thought of some reflexes that this guy's in charge of. Things like sneezing, coughing, staying awake, falling asleep. Just the most simple things the lower brain is in charge of. So it's really important. And another important thing is that it communicates with the limbic system and it sends signals to create different emotions such as anger or sadness. On from our lower brain, we're going to fold our thumb like this to create the middle brain, or the limbic area. The limbic area is in charge of things like what motivates us, where our attention is, and most importantly, it is our emotions. So for just a few seconds, I want you guys to think about things that motivate you, that catch your attention, or just that make you emotional, because this is all involving the limbic area. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the cortex, also known as the upper brain, which is your four fingers here. And to me, I think this is one of the most important and amazing parts of your brain. It lets you do things such as think, reflect, remember, plan, your self-esteem or your self-awareness. These are things we use every day, and it's basically impossible to live our lives without using our upper brain. So I want you to reflect for a couple seconds and think about how you used your upper brain in the last hour. Earlier I talked about how the brain-hand model can help you control your emotions and keep them all in check. And I bet you're wondering how, because I haven't really explained that. But it's very simple. So when a situation occurs, we're going to get our brains out. When a situation occurs that really gets us angry, upset, or sad, our upper brain goes like this. It just flies right off, and it's not even connected now to the middle brain. And if you can remember, the middle brain's in charge of our emotions, and the upper brain's in charge of our thinking and our processing. When a situation occurs that does upset us, you can reflect and remember just feeling an uncontrollable amount of emotions. And that is because the upper brain just comes right up like that, and we can't even think logically about it. So when you were playing Xbox, or you out were playing with your friends and somebody took away your toy, boom, upper brain went up and you just started losing it, and maybe you couldn't control those emotions. So that is why it is so important to understand this brain model, so we can recognize it, so we can put our lid on and control ourselves. All right, so I'm going to give a little scenario so maybe you can see how learning to put your lid back on is so important. So for any of you that play sports, I'm going to use soccer for both men and women. So in soccer, if a player gets a penalty, they're probably going to get a little bit angry, and their lid's going to flip right up like this. So at that point, the player has two options. If they've worked on this, they can slowly get their brain on, control their emotions, take the penalty, and move on. But in a lot of cases, when that lid flips and the player can't get it back on, they're going to keep showing their emotions, yelling, getting angry, and this could, in turn, have them get a red card, which is even worse. So that's just a little example that you can see how a player or just anyone controlling their emotions can benefit them. The biggest part of being able to control your emotions is just recognizing what's going on in your brain in the first place. So that's what's so special about this hand model. Every time you get mad, you're playing Fortnite, your brother takes away the remote, you're playing with a doll, a game, someone takes it away, you can recognize that, boom, your lid flipped up, and you need to get it back on so the situation doesn't get any worse. For a final wrap up to the lesson, we're going to do a little reflection. So I want everyone to grab a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, and I want you to think about a common situation that occurs where you get really angry. Maybe at recess someone takes your toy, just something that happens every day. Now, I want you to write what would happen if you can't get your upper brain to come down and your emotions just keep getting worse, and then what will happen if you could control the upper brain and get it down so you can think about the choices you're about to make. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if the second option, which is putting on your lid, the outcome is a lot more positive than if your lid's flipped and you're just letting the emotions get the best of you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video. I hope it could be helpful for you, or if having to teach somebody of this age group about the hand-brain model by Siegel.